Alex Pereira has now begun taunting the light heavyweight division. Following his recent loss to Israel Adesanya, Pereira confirmed he will be moving up a weight class. Pereira tweeted this. He wrote, "After announcing that my next fight will be in 205 pounds. He followed up with this. He wrote, "Where are now the light heavyweights who were talking about me when I was in middleweight?" Henry Cejudo believes Israel Adesanya landed a Hail Mary against Alex Pereira. Henry says Pereira learned a lesson that he needs to be more careful with the 4-ounce gloves because it's entirely different from fighting in 10-ounce gloves, like the gloves that Pereira fought in Glory Kickboxing. On his YouTube channel, Henry said Alex Pereira did have him hurt. If there's one thing you guys can take from that is Israel, his defense to leg kicks is not all there. He's too out, he's too straightforward. Pereira had him hurt to the leg. Israel just curled up and threw that right hand, went for broke. He threw the Hail Mary and called him and took him out. Those are the chances you take, and I think the biggest lesson that Pereira could learn is you've got to be careful, man. This isn't glory. You don't have an 8-ounce glove, a 10-ounce glove. When you're fighting someone in MMA, it's a 4-ounce glove. He got in trouble in those positions before. He's going to be super hard to beat at 185 pounds because at 185 pounds, he's gone through everybody and nobody there has any trust in their wrestling. Recently, Colby Covington claimed that the UFC confirmed that they will strip Leon Edwards of his welterweight title if he does not agree to fight Colby. Colby said he's got nowhere to go. If Leon doesn't want to fight, I've already been assured that it's okay. They'll just strip him, and I'm next in line. So the fact that he's trying to cry and act all privileged is just funny. But there's nowhere to go. Dana has assured me that I'm fighting him this summer. I don't know the location yet. We'll have to wait and see from Dana and the big bosses at the UFC what they decide. I know he wanted to fight Street Judas Masvidal so bad. Don't worry, Leon. After I beat your ass this summer, you can fight Jorge on the prelims. Leon recently responded to this claim. Leon also reveals when he'd like to return. Leon told MMA Fighting July is 100% too soon. I fought in March just under a month ago, and I'm still dealing with injuries and stuff that I had to deal with before I even considered getting back into a training camp. If I'm fighting in July, that means I'm going back into a training camp next week, and that's just not possible. I will look toward the back end of the year. I would love to do Abu Dhabi in October. I think that would be a great time frame for me to compete, but there's actually no clear #1 contender. There's no one actually out there that's actually earned it. There's guys coming off 2 losses, 1 win. There's guys that got 1 win, 1 loss. It's a difficult time in the welterweight division. So now I've got to look towards business. I will sit back, talk to the UFC, talk to my team, and see what's best. It's weird. I don't know why he's getting pushed so much. He's coming off 2 losses to the guy that I just currently beat in Kamaru Usman, and then went and beat a guy in Masvidal that's just retired and now sat out for over a year. Turned down Gilbert Burns, turned down Khamzat Chimaev, turned down Bilal Muhammad, and then come back to a title shot? It's weird. It's something that I've never seen before. When I was going through the pandemic having fight cancellations, Khamzat pulled out twice, I pulled out once, Masvidal pulled out, all these fights falling through. I got removed from the rankings for that. Even though it was out of my control and wasn't my fault, I got removed from the rankings. For a guy to be fit and healthy, sit on the sidelines, turn down 3 or 4 fights and then just say he wants to fight for a title, it doesn't make sense. I feel like they should do it like I did it. Just shut up and fight. I earned my position, I worked for it. But these guys want handouts and freebies, and that's not the way it works. There's no fight offer. The UFC hasn't even spoke to us. There's no talks of that fight happening. He is talking just to talk. But as far as getting stripped, this is a guy that sat out for a year, turned down fight after fight, so he's talking just to talk. I'm one that always took every fight. I took Khamzat when nobody wanted to fight Khamzat. I took him 3 times when everyone was turning him down, so it is what it is. I'm coming off a fight against one of the top welterweights in the world, Kamaru Usman, just under a month ago. It hasn't been a month yet since I fought Usman. There's no stripping here. I'm willing to fight whoever, whenever, as long as they deserve it and the time frame is right. Instead of sitting around and complaining, fight each other. I don't understand why you wouldn't. If you truly believe you're the #1 contender, you should want to fight these guys, to prove to everybody that there's no one in my way. It's me next. For some reason, these guys want to sit out, complain, moan about the title shot without fighting. I had to do 10 in a row to get my title shot. These guys are coming off 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, and demanding title shots. For sure, I feel like they should fight each other, either Colby versus Bilal or Burns versus Colby, however they want to do it. Whoever wins, that's me next. After Kamaru Usman recently lost to Leon Edwards, Justin Gaethje said that Michael Bisping was biased in his commentary and didn't belong anywhere near a microphone. Gaethje in a recent interview says that although Bisping is not his favorite commentator, he didn't mean to throw him under the bus. Gaethje said, "I wouldn't talk to us for a week after we fight. We're so emotional, and yes, seeing my teammate lose made me more emotional. The night before at weigh-ins they did a Q&A, and I thought Bisping was more biased in that situation, and that rubbed me the wrong way. So really anything he said was going to piss me off, especially because my teammate was fighting. So I think his assessment was spot on. I think I was probably over-emotional. I didn't mean to throw Michael Bisping under the bus. I thought that he was a biased commentator that night, watching from the back. I thought there were some comments made that were unprofessional, but I thought it was due to the fact that they were from a common place, and that's all I was saying. I don't believe that's false, I believe that's true, but I also started it off saying I'm just as biased, or more biased than him, so it is what it is. I have no ill will against Michael Bisping. He's not my favorite commentator. I remember him talking shit about me when I first came in fighting Michael Johnson, so I'm a pretty petty person, and some things you don't forget. Yesterday it was announced that Nate Diaz will officially be boxing Jake Paul on August 5th. Daniel Cormier warns Nate Diaz that he's in for a very tough fight. DC went on to say, I don't know how much I like it. I don't know how much I like that fight, based on two things. Jake's big for him, Jake's going to be big for Diaz, and Jake is also improving as a boxer. But Jake can also hit Nate, and that's the worry. Nate is a guy that does get hit, because Nate's tough. Nate got hit by Masvidal, Nate got hit by Tony Ferguson, and we know who Tony Ferguson is today opposed to who Tony Ferguson was before. Nate can be hit. And this guy's going to be bigger than Nate. This guy's going to be fighting in a rule set that benefits him. This guy's going to be difficult. It's going to be a very tough fight for Diaz, just because he has to be so aware. Nate Diaz doesn't get tired, so if Nate's going to have an opportunity to win this fight, Nate has got to set a high pace early, and he's got to keep that pace going the entirety of the fight. And he has got to stay away from the right hand. Am I comfortable making a prediction for this fight? I don't know. But if I'm having to guess, seeing them both recently, I feel like the bigger, younger guy is generally who you would go with. And the bigger, younger, fresher guy is Paul. Paul has not been through the wars with Conor McGregor. Paul has not been through the wars of being in the UFC championship fights with the best fighters in the world. He's fresh. His toughest fight was Tommy Fury, and he's bigger. That is what I think may be ultimately one of the biggest issues that my boy Nate has to deal with when it comes to that fight. But if anyone can upset the apple cart, it's Nate Diaz. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post future ones. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one says, I couldn't laugh hard enough when Pena said the second fight with Nunes was close. The second one's from Danny Phantom 9. He says, it's crazy how that flying knee changes Jorge's career. Been fighting since 2003 in backyards and became a multi-millionaire at the end of the career. But let's be real, he's living a way better life than many haters and casual fans that talk about his losing streak and the situation with Colby. Say whatever y'all want about him. He actually won at life. He didn't become champ, but he made a whole lot of money. That's a win. At the end of the day, these fighters are trying to get that bread and add zeros in their bank account for their family and future generations. That's the real goal, and Jorge was the very few to accomplish it. Hashtag GameBread. And the final one's from John. Says any of the 205ers against Alex is a banger. I've never wanted a Brazilian fighter to succeed so much as Pereira. That guy is a warrior and also so respectful. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured on the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. If you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen to get caught up. And make sure to go subscribe to our second channel where we post our exclusive MMA interviews.